All right, today we are diving into a classic Asterix adventure, but with a pretty big twist. See, this isn't about our heroes outsmarting the usual Roman legions. Oh no. This is about a brand new threat coming from those dark forests out east. This is the story of what happens when our indomitable Gauls go up against the fearsome, and let's be honest, kind of terrifying, Goths. It's a total masterclass in strategy, where the real goal isn't just to win a fight, but to turn an entire nation's power right back on itself.
So, it's 50 BC, and you know the drill. All of Gaul is occupied by the Romans. Well, not quite all of it. But while our favorite Gauls have been busy dealing with the legions right at their doorstep, a totally different storm has been gathering. Way over the Rhine, in those vast, spooky lands of Germania, the Goths are watching, and they're planning. Now, these aren't the organized, predictable soldiers of Rome. This is a force of raw, ambitious power, and they've just set their sights on Gaul.
And their plan? It is brutally simple and, frankly, terrifyingly ambitious. They don't want land, not yet anyway. They want the ultimate weapon, the one thing that has kept that little village completely invincible, the secret of the magic potion. And to get it, they're going to steal the one man who knows the recipe. They believe that with its power, they can conquer Gaul first, and then, Rome itself. The stakes have literally never been higher.
So our story really kicks off not in the village, but deep inside the sacred forest of the Carnutes. It's that time of year again, the annual Druid conference, a huge gathering of the greatest mystical minds in all of Gaul. You can almost smell the mistletoe in the air, hear the quiet rustle of their robes as they all compete for the highest honor. It's a place of wisdom, of competition, but this year it's also a place of some serious danger.
Because, hidden just beyond the tree line, completely concealed by shadows and leaves, is a band of Gothic warriors. Their horned helmets and grim faces are just a world away from this peaceful gathering. And they're led by the imposing chief Choleric, a guy whose name, believe me, perfectly matches his temperament. They are not here for a friendly chat. They're here to hunt, and they're waiting with this chilling patience for the perfect moment to strike.
And Choleric makes its intentions perfectly clear. This isn't just some random snatch and grab. Their mission is precise. Identify the best druid, the one who wins the grand prize, and take him. It's a cold, calculated plan to steal Gaul's greatest asset right from under everyone's noses, making sure they get the most powerful magical knowledge they possibly can.
And who wins that coveted prize? Well, who else? None other than our village druid, Getafix. His magic potion, the one that grants superhuman strength, easily wins him the golden menhir. It's this awesome moment of triumph. His peers are all cheering, but it also just painted a massive target right on his back, kicking our entire adventure into high gear. And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, why not take a second to like and subscribe to see more of these classic stories come to life?
The celebration, though, it's tragically short-lived. With the conference over, Getafix, escorted by Asterix and Obelix, starts the familiar journey home. The mood is light, they're full of the pride of victory. But what they don't know is that every single step they take is being watched by Choleric's warriors, who are already moving in to spring their carefully laid trap. The forest, once this sacred meeting place, is about to become a scene of violence.
The ambush is just sudden and brutal. The Goths swarm them, a complete flurry of motion and shouts. Now, Asterix and Obelix, they fight with everything they've got, but the attackers are just so focused, and they vanish into the forest with their prize as quickly as they appeared. In the aftermath, right there, amongst the scattered leaves and churned-up earth, our heroes find a single crucial clue left behind: a helmet. But it's not Roman, it's Visigothic. The enemy is someone new, and they're a long way from home.
So, there's no time to waste, not a moment for debate. Realizing their friend has been taken across the border, Asterix and Obelix immediately give chase. And this isn't just a simple stroll through the woods. They are willingly crossing the Roman frontier, plunging headfirst into hostile, totally unknown territory to rescue Getafix. Their loyalty is absolute, their resolve, unbreakable. Now, what's really interesting is the journey itself. It takes them right through these nervous Roman patrols who actually mistake them for Goths and across the heavily guarded frontier. And soon enough, they find themselves deep in the forests of Germania. I mean, the air here is different. It's thick with the scent of damp earth and pine. The trees are taller, darker, they just block out the sun. The silence in these foreign woods is oppressive, a world away from their home, and a constant, menacing reminder that they are all alone and completely surrounded by enemies.
So,
Let's just recap this wild journey. It all starts with that violent kidnapping back in Gaul. That kicks off an immediate, desperate chase that leads them straight to the Roman frontier. There, they've got to outsmart these jumpy legionaries who are just as scared of the Goths as anybody else. And finally, the trail takes them all the way to the Gothic capital, dropping them right into the heart of the lion's den. I mean, their courage is taking them to places no Gaul has ever willingly gone before.
And this is where their whole strategy has to shift. Chasing just isn't an option anymore. They need to get inside that heavily guarded city. So they do the last thing anyone would expect. They disguise themselves as Goths and get captured on purpose. It is a wildly risky move, a totally calculated surrender. But in this enemy territory, the only way forward is to get dragged in as prisoners.
And that brings us to the climax. Inside the fortress, Getafix is being interrogated by the supreme Gothic chief, Teleferic. This guy is a total brute who rules through fear. Meanwhile, our two heroes are about to unleash a plan so brilliantly chaotic, so disruptive, that it will be remembered as the Great Gothic Anarchy. This isn't just about a rescue anymore. This is about starting a revolution.
Their plan unfolds in 4 just ingenious steps. First, get captured to get inside. Check. Second, find Getafix, which happens pretty easily when they're thrown into the exact same dungeon. Third, Getafix has to pretend to give in and brew the magic potion for the Goths, which, looks like a total defeat. But this is all part of the masterful 4th step, using that very potion to unleash absolute, perfectly calculated chaos.
The moment of truth arrives in the grand arena. The air is just thick with the smell of dust and the sweat of this expectant crowd. Getafix is brought before the Gothic chief Teleferic, who demands the secret of the potion. When Getafix predictably refuses, the Goths get ready for a rather gruesome form of persuasion. Hey, if you appreciate this kind of clever strategy, go ahead and hit that like button to let us know.
Yeah, the crowd just roars with this barbaric excitement. Their plan is to have Getafix literally torn apart by wild horses. This isn't just an interrogation, it's a blood sport, a spectacle for the masses. The danger for our druid could not be more real or more imminent. He is alone, he's powerless, and he's facing a horrific end in a foreign land.
But Getafix had a plan all along. See, he'd managed to get a real dose of the potion to Asterix and Obelix. They burst free and rescue him. And here comes the twist. They don't just escape. Oh no. Asterix gives a flask of potion to Teleferic's ambitious rival, a Goth named Electric, and suddenly Electric is strong enough to challenge for leadership. Then they give it to another Goth and another. The poor interpreter, this guy named Rhetoric, is just run ragged, trying to translate this ever-growing flood of declarations of leadership as total chaos erupts.
The contrast is just stark. Before our Gauls showed up, Gothic society was simple. One leader, Teleferic, ruled everybody. After their little intervention, it is a complete madhouse. We're talking dozens of potion-fueled Goths all fighting each other, each one screaming that they're the new chief. The Gauls brilliantly turned the Goths' greatest desire, the potion's power, into the very thing that would tear them apart. The arena just descends into pure anarchy. This cacophony of ambition perfectly captures the result of the Goth strategy. They didn't beat the Goths in battle. They shattered their entire social structure from the inside out. And this chaotic infighting, sparked by our heroes, would later become known to historians as the Gothic Wars.
So, with the Goths now completely busy with a civil war of their own making, the path home is wide open. Our heroes haven't just survived, they have triumphed in the most spectacular way imaginable, leaving a whole nation in turmoil without having to conquer a single soldier. Their work here is done. Right in the middle of all that chaos, Asterix, Obelix, and Getafix just slip away, completely unnoticed. They didn't need to fight an army. By cleverly handing out power, by giving everyone the strength they craved, they made sure the Goths would be way too busy fighting amongst themselves to bother anyone in Gaul for a very, very long time. It is a perfect, peaceful victory that was born from absolute mayhem.
And in the end, that's the number that matters. 1. One united village, safe and sound, all because of what 3 heroes did. By sowing dissent abroad, they secured peace at home, and they could finally return to the familiar comfort of their village and the promise of a very well-deserved celebration. They literally turned chaos into security.
And you know, every Asterix adventure has to end the proper way, with a grand banquet under the stars. It's a feast celebrating not just their safe return, but a victory that was won through sheer brainpower. It's a testament to the idea that the sharpest weapon you have is a sharp mind. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please share your support by liking and subscribing for more explainers on all your favorite stories.
And this all leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. I mean, it was a small-scale intervention, right? It was born from a rescue mission. But by turning the Goths less for power against them and kicking off the Gothic Wars, did these few Gauls accidentally alter the entire political landscape of ancient Europe and reshape the course of history itself? What do you think?